Sanibona Mthwakazi omuhle, siyalamukela njalo kwesinye isiqephu sethu sezindaba umsakazo we-Citizens Movement Radio. Namhla kungoLwesine zingama-28 kuNcwabakazi ngomnyaka ka-2025. Indaba lizetshulelwa uKhethiwe Chuma. Wesihamba phambili namhlanje, uhulumende usesolwe kakhulu ngokungayenzi ngokuqakathekisa izinto esibhedlela. Sokube lokumemezela kokuba kukhishwe imali yemhloliso kuZIMSEC lapho bekulalelwa khona ukujinjwa komthetho. Nansi indaba zethu ngokugcweleyo. Uhulumende webandla leZANU-PF usechotozwe kakhulu ngokwehluleka ukuqakathekisa izinto ngemva kokuba ephe ithenda lokuba kwakhiwe indawo yokudlalela itennis esibhedlela sasePharirenyatwa eHarare kulokuthi kuthengwe imishina eyelapha imvukuzane. Omunye walabo abachotozayo ngulo wayemela eMount Pleasant edali lePhalamende, umhlonishwa uFatsai Mahere, othe uhulumende kumele aqaphisise ukuthenga into eziqakathekileyo ezifana lemishina yokwelapha kanye lemithi ezibhedlela ndawonye lokukhuphula iholo labasebenzi abasebenza ezibhedlela. Umsakazo we-Citizens Movement Radio uye waxoxisana lezakhamizi ukuzwa imbono yabo mayelana ngohulumende ka-Emmerson Mnangagwa owakha inkundla yokudlalela itennis esibhedlela sasePharirenyatwa lapho kungela mshina yokwelapha imvukuzane. Ake sizweni.
I am Langton Mwanaka, an ex-political prisoner. Mnangagwa's failed dictatorial, cruel, looting, heartless, and bloodthirsty regime has shown the whole world that it's a confused and failed government. It is confused like cockroaches in a tin of Gamma-Tox. The dictatorial government has shown the whole world that it suffers from CDS, Citizenocracy Deficiency Syndrome. It is a selfish government that does not prioritize its citizens. How can the heartless government prioritize constructing tennis courts over buying essential medical equipment? The money should have been used for buying medicine for rural people than trapping them in a cycle of poverty and vulnerability. The money should also have been used to clear government beam areas to improve quality of education in schools. Pachimanyika tingoti isusu ndiko kutungamirirwa nana Puzanga uku.
Sokube lezicelo ezivela ebazalini kanye lenhlanganiso zamatishala ezithi kakwesulwe imali yokubhala emhloliso lapho kulalelwa izicelo zokujinjwa komthetho weZIMSEC. Emashingo emhlanganweni wokulalela lezi zicelo izolo ngokukhulunywe inhlanganiso ye-Amalgamated Rural Teachers Union of Zimbabwe ATUZ, abazali bafisa umthwalo wemali yokuhlolisiswa kwabantwana isuswe kubo ifakwe kuhulumende. Umsekeli kanobhala jikelele wenhlanganiso ye-ATUZ uMnyaradzi Masiyiwa uthi imali yokubhadala imhloliso inzima kakhulu kulabo abaswelayo, yikho iningi labantwana besehluleka ukubhala imhloliso ngoba besehluleka ukuba bahlanganise leyo mali. Ake sizweni uMasiyiwa ekhuluma.
It has been quite clear that during the public hearing that are being conducted, countrywide public hearing concerning the ZIMSEC Amendment Bill, parents are agitating for scrapping of ZIMSEC fees from that amendment bill. That amendment bill should simply recognize and take into consideration the provision of Section 75 of the National Constitution, which provides for state-funded education. So, ZIMSEC registration must be scrapped. That is the message from the parents, which is very clear and in order. And we call upon the government to simply respect that and simply respect the voices of the citizens, which spoke in 2013 when the constitution was adopted. And again, the voice of the citizens are simply repeating what they said, that education must be state funded in total.
Umsakazo we-Citizens Movement Radio uye wakhuluma lomunye othungamela abafundi uKigen Mathe obehlanganele emhlanganweni wokulalelwa kokujinjwa ngomthetho wezimsek koBulawayo osinikeze insolo zakhe mayelana ngale mthetho wokujinjwa kwayo lalokhu afisa kube khona. Ake sizweni.
Thank you very much, Citizens Movement, for having me. The ZIMSEC Amendment Bill directly addresses the issue of exam leakages and malpractices. But however, it does not speak much on the whistleblower framework and the protection of such. It is silent on the mechanisms that it should employ by the board, by the council, in terms of protecting those that speak or blow the whistle in case any malpractice is raised. It is very silent on such, and it fails to integrate the Ministry of Primary and Secondary Education in the value chain of the reporting mechanism, in the sense that it boasts of the personnel in the ministry that can be used as a channel of reporting and the protection of such whistleblowers. Furthermore, it provides for the inclusion of the office of the Chief Executive Officer. That means that there will be no director at ZIMSEC. So at implementation level, it brings about a new Chief Executive Officer and provides space for more directors at implementation level. So this comes with a salary increase, particularly so in every government ministry. When there's a promotion of a higher post, it comes with a salary increase. However, in so doing, it does not speak to the remuneration of invigilators and other important players in the value chain that ensure that the smooth and safe running of and sanity of the affairs of the markings at ZIMSEC, the invigilation, the teachers. It is very much silent on the remuneration and how it aims at addressing such. It remains also silent. In fact, it provides for the office of, it speaks through clause 6 that there shall be the finance committee. It does not speak to the structure of the finance committee. It's on the job duties and responsibilities. So it's therefore lacked flesh of how this finance committee seeks to address the perennial issues of low budget costs at ZIMSEC, the issues of delayed payments to invigilators, and so on and so on. And particularly, this finance committee is said to be a new creation in the board, but in the board does not play any part at implementation level. Its job is that of advisory and policy formulation. So why include a finance committee in the board, yet you could have included at implementation level? So, you know, there are a lot of disparities that we raised at these public hearings, but we spoke flesh to it, and we hope that parliamentarians will onwards implement and make effective laws. Thank you very much.
Isiphathamandla sebandla eliphikisayo Comrade Gift Ostalos Siziba use-Accra kweleGhana lapho ahlanganyela khona umhlangano wehlandla lesihlanu owezwekazi le-Afrika okukhulunywa ngezikwelede kanye lokuphumelela kwezwekazi le-Afrika. Ephosela emakhasini akhe okuxhumana, uSiziba uye wathi sikhona isidingo sokuba kwesulwe isikwelede sase-Afrika esisingaphezu ka-746 billion edoleni laseMelika. Uye wathi sikhona isidingo sokuba izwekazi le-Afrika likhulume ngezwi linye ukuze lesi sikwelede sesulwe njalo izwekazi le-Afrika lenelise ukudlulela phambili kwezokuthuthuka. Phambi kokuba ayeGhana, uComrade Ostalos Siziba uye wathola ithuba lokuxoxisana loNqobizitha Mlambo lapho asole khona uhulumende ngokungami eqinisweni ngemva kokuba evimbe ukuthengiswa ebusuku kanye lokuthengiswa kwempahla esezike zagqokwa ngesikhathi esifana nayo. Uhulumende ofanayo njalo abuye athi abantu abathengisayo yibo abaletha imali elizweni. Ake silalele ingxenye yengxoxo yabo.
Right? And when we look at the state of, or the decision, not even the state, the decision by the banning minister of local government to ban informal sector traders to ban the importation of second-hand clothing. Whereas in the mid-term budget review statement, the Minister of Finance quotes Zimstas and says, according to Zimstas' latest economic census, 76% of this economy is informal, meaning that so-called 45 billion economy is largely informal, right? Then 2-3 days down the line, a minister also sits with including the same cabinet, bans 76% of the economy. What does that mean? Is it a crisis of leadership? Is it a crisis? Is there a leader?
Look, Trevor Lamb, I think Garo is not just a misfit.
Yeah.
He's not just incompetent, but he's also clueless about how a modern economic ecosystem functions.
Yeah.
Because we are in a government that has brought in data before it comes to parliament to public.
It goes to cabinet.
When
Every Wednesday.
Mutingu says the major contributor of the economy is the informal sector, 76% to be precise, as you said. But Garwe comes in the following morning and saying, I'm banning the major contributors to the economy. That's why propaganda, because when you are lying now, you have to lie for the rate of life and to the entire ecosystem. But Garwe looks at the menace, looks at the micro challenges of vending, but it does not look at the structural cause. Our economy is highly informal. Why? A normal country should be looking at the following issues. Number one, how do we begin to regulate the informal sector? Because what does informalization mean? Informalization means that these people are getting money but they're not paying tax, they're not paying levies. So the question is, government, that's why before the economy was informalized, when the Zimbabwe Congress was President was still active, when Zimbabweans were employed, the intersection between government and the worker was the negotiation forum.
What they call collective bargaining.
You get the point?
Yeah.
The negotiation forum are so that there's an understanding between those players and government as a regulator.
Yeah.
So you don't regulate from air-conditioned office in Munumutapa without going to the streets in Parent, talking to the vendors and saying, we are the government. We want you to pay tax. Where are your problems? Vendors are going to tell them that, one, give us proper ablution facilities. Because you cannot want taxation when we are not benefiting.
Like taxation without representation.
You get the point?
Taxation without development.
You get the point? So you want us to pay tax, that's fine. You want to formalize that, that's fine. Build us share. Build us functioning facilities.
And proper public transport as well.
Public
so that
transport.
the customers can come to us. Well, one of the causes of vending is that these people go to where large volumes of people are. So you can't take someone who is selling sweets from the streets of 4th Street and take them to Rotten Road.
You must pay tax.
And say,
you get what? Because there's also the microeconomic stability.
Yeah,
do I have trust in the banking system? Because you want me to begin to bank.
Formalization means really having a
in the form of public finance is going also to come and rob our banks. you get the point? So it's an entire ecosystem that must begin with consultation with the stakeholders. You get the point?
Research of this world.
Precisely the point. Talk to them, understand the problems, and then co-create. That's what is called the social contract. Now they are all the major stakeholders in one table. We are agreeing that we are going to pay. We are going to provide these services. And we are meeting halfway. Then there is a revenue now that is coming. But this is the problem with the government without a philosophy, without a dominant idea.
Imbiko evelayo ibika ukuba indawo ebisaziwa ngokuthi le bhizinisi kakhulu kwele Harare Portdale iSemilevi Village isishaya umoya ngemva kokuba osomabhizinisi kubikwa besuka kuleyo ndawo. Isiphathamandla sebandla eliphikisayo Jefferson Chitando uthi ukuwa kwamabhizinisi elizweni kuveza khona ukwehluleka kobuthungameli buka Emmerson Mnangagwa kwezepolitiki lakuhulumende. uye wathi abantu bamabhizinisi abalalo ithemba embusweni ka-Emmerson Mnangagwa ngemva kokuba etshontshe ukhetho ngomnyaka ka-2023 yikho kwenza abamabhizinisi bashiye ilizwe laseZimbabwe. Ake sizweni uChitando ekhuluma.
The situation in the country is an evidence that the economy is in a crisis, which is being caused by the political crisis which was created by Mnangagwa's rigging of the 2023 elections. While the government is claiming that the economy is improving, but things on the ground show that people do not have disposable income, and this is forcing many businesses to collapse because you lack customers. If you look at Sam Levy, which is in Borodem, where we expect that the middle income and the high income classes are found, the businesses there are, shops are closing. What about Mbare, where we have got the low income? What about the businesses in the rural areas? This is all posting a very nasty evidence that things are crumbling. I wonder if the Reserve Bank governor is saying that he is going to introduce the Ziggy. Things are going to be more difficult and more businesses are going to close. So the thing at Sam Levy in Borodem is a clear indication that we are heading towards a total collapse of the economy.
Izolo siyesethula udaba lokuba uhulumende umemezele ukuvimba kokuthengwa komumbu ngaphandle kwelizwe ngabalimi basekhaya. Namhlanje siyesaxoxisana lesiphathamandla sebandla eliphikisayo kweleMwenezi uThinei Maphepha ositshela ngokuba lokhu kulomphumela bani ezakhamizini zaseMwenezi labo ababhekane lodubo lokuswela ukudla ngenxa yokuthi abatholanga isivuno esihle ngokuswelakala kwamanzi kanye lokuswelakala kokudla. Ake simzweni ekhuluma.
The ban in maize import is ill-advised as it will affect drought-hit areas like Mwenezi. Our people are relying on maize meal imported from South Africa to fend for their families. So when the government bans the importation of maize, it means our people are really in trouble because they did not have enough harvest to last the season due to drought. Given this decision by government, to me it means we have a government that is not in touch with the goings on in its area of jurisdiction. How can someone in the levers of power wake up and say we had a bounty harvest, yet the reality on the ground shows the opposite? This on its own is sad, to say the least, since the correct position is that people are in dire need of food aid as of yesterday. Government must chip in as a matter of urgency to alleviate the situation our people are faced with. Otherwise, it may degenerate into losses of life. Thank you.
Udidisi kaMnangagwa okhohlakeleyo owaziwa ngokuthi nguWicknell Chivayo uqhubekela phambili ngokuphisana ngezimota kanye lemali kulabo wazama ukubadonsa ukuba basekele isicelo sikaMnangagwa sokuba abuse ihlandla lesithathu ngokungekho emthethweni. Kuliviki uChivayo uye wanikeza izimota kanye lemali kubathungameli bamabandla esipostoli. Lokhu abantu abakuswele kakhulu bathi kuyindlela yokuthenga ibandla ukuba lisekele umbuso ka-Emmerson Mnangagwa. Isiphathamandla sebandla eliphikisayo kanti njalo engusomlomo webandla eliphikisayo uPromise Mkhwananzi usole kakhulu uMnangagwa ngokunikeza izimota ezibhedlela lapho kuswelakala khona imithi eyokubulala ubuhlungu nje kuphela. Amazwi enduduzo ayaqhubeka ngokungena kulowa engunozindaba kwele South Africa uTsidi Madia owedlule izolo emhlabeni esibhedlela ngemva kokugula isikhathi esifishane. uMadia obeleminyaka engama-42 ubesaziwa ngomsebenzi wakhe omuhle okuxoxisana labazepolitiki njalo ebuza imibuzo engesabi engabandlululi. Isiphathamandla sebandla eliphikisayo kanti njalo engusaziwayo kwezokusakaza uSteven Sarkozy Chuma uye wagqugquzela abezindaba ukuba bafunde okuningi kuMadia obesaziwa kakhulu ngokubamba umsebenzi wakhe ngeqhuzu eliphezulu. Ake sizweni uChuma ekhuluma.
Yes, we joined the South African community and the African continent at large in mourning the passing on of Tsidi Madia, who was a well-known journalist in South Africa and beyond the borders of that country. A journalist worth their salt, a journalist who was known for her hard-hitting interviews involving top politicians. A journalist who was known for making politicians account to their words. This is something that we wish our journalists here in Zimbabwe to copy from the legacy of Madia. We have a situation here where there are serious allegations of corruption involving top officials and individuals linked to the government, but we have not seen members of the 40th state, particularly those in the public media, questioning, holding leaders to account, holding leaders to answer to critical questions of the day involving issues to do with corruption and issues to do with governance.
Iqembu likaMnashe Karananga odlalela ama-Warriors ele-Copenhagen izolo liye lanqoba ele-Basel 2-0 ukuze lidlulele phambili emidlalweni ye-UEFA Champions League emidlalweni yemncane. I-Club Brugge layo iyadlulela phambili ngemva kokuba inqobe i-Rangers 6-0. I-Benfica layo idlulele phambili ngemva kokuba inqobe i-Fenerbahce 1-0 kwathi i-Karabakh yona inqobe i-Ferencvaros 5-4 ngamagoli ukuze badlulele phambili. Emidlalweni ye-Carabao Cup uhlandla lesibili edlalwe izolo kusihlwa, iqembu le-Manchester United liye lakhishwa i-Grimsby Town 12-11 lapho ziye zadlulela kuma-penalty ngemva kokuba umdlalo uphele ungutshikilobhanqa 2-2. Nansi eminye imiphumela yemidlalo edlalwe izolo kusihlwa. I-Oxford United 0, i-Brighton 6, Everton 2, i-Mansfield Town 0, i-Fulham 2, i-Bristol City 0. Ukusiphetha lezi ndaba kumsakazo we-Citizens Movement Radio nanze bezihamba phambili njalo. Uhulumende usesolwe kakhulu ngokungaqakathekisi izinto ezibhedlela. Sokulokumemezela kokuba kukhishwe imali yokubhala imihloliso lapho kulalelwa khona izicelo zokutshintsha umthetho kuZIMSEC. Siziphetha lapha lezi ndaba.